Hi, I'm Margaret Polly, and I'm the culinary nutritionist for the UAMS Culinary Medicine Program, and I'm really honored to speak to you caregivers today. I was a caregiver at one point, and I know how difficult it is to just be, trying to do everything, and sometimes the cooking does, fall to the wayside because we just don't have the time. But we know that the person we're caring for does need a healthy meal, and but how do you do that? So I've got a recipe here that's usually a favorite. It's a one-pot bean chili, and it's super easy to make. I can even tell you a few shortcuts to make it easier. So follow along with me, and the recipe will be posted on the website so that you can make it at home. And we're in my home kitchen today, and I hope that you can see everything okay. What I like to do first is I like to bring everything in front of me just so it's going to be easily accessible. Okay, you're not running back and forth trying to find things, and you're not forgetting to put an ingredient in. That's one of the main things. So this is going to take one onion, is going to take a carrot, is going to take a zucchini, and a red pepper. Now the carrot and the zucchini, if you want, you can just shred it. I'm going to chop it because I like chopping, but you could also use other vegetables if you like. It's a good way to clean out the fridge. It will take some frozen corn at the end too, although you could use canned. So let's start with the onion. And what I like about this recipe is that it's not using anything really too processed, okay? Because the processing will give you a lot more sodium, and many times those that we're caring for, and even ourselves, we don't need all of that salt, right? So we know that salt can be a problem with people with high blood pressure, or if they have any swelling, like in their lower extremities, lower leg and stuff. It's called edema. We want to be a little careful about having too much salt, okay? But salt gives flavor, and the cool thing about this recipe is that it's full of flavor. I love that. And it's going to be full of flavor because you're going to make your own seasoning mix. And it's things that you find in your pantry or you can find in the grocery store very easily, okay? So we're gonna, you notice I have this little bowl available too. This is for all my scraps, just to, again, not making a mess in the kitchen, and it also helps to just keep everything, keep you from running back and forth to the trash can. So we're going to chop the onion, and if anybody wants to learn knife skills, I can show you that. It's something that I've actually, learned. Many times people will, hold a knife like this, and it's a little, wobbly that way. So you want to choke up on your knife like this. Hopefully you can see that. And it just gives you much more stability. And the key to that is, or the reason that it's good, is that you don't want to cut yourself in the kitchen. So always make sure your knives are sharp. When knives are dull, that's the time that people will tend to cut themselves, or when they're not paying attention. I've done that before. So, and they always make it look so easy on the Food Network, right? So we've got our onion that's all chopped up, and I'm going to move that to the side. Now I'm going to take my zucchini, and I'm going to cut the ends off. Always wash your veggies first, of course. We don't want anybody getting sick from any foodborne illnesses, and salmonella. We hear all those things in the news, and really, if we a good way to prevent that, especially if your folks at home might be what they call immunosuppressed, might catch get sick from germs more often. You want to wash and fully cook your food, okay? So we've just chopped that up. You can, I've made it in about this size of a dice. You can make it smaller if you want, and if someone that doesn't really like vegetables too much, or these are going to be soft, so you don't have to worry about the chewing part. But if they don't really like veggies, maybe shred it, okay? Because that would make them melt a little bit more into the chili. Now, if you don't like to chop, or you don't, if you want to save even more time, you can find these vegetables at Kroger or at Walmart, maybe other grocery stores you might have closer to your home that are already frozen. We have the onions, the peppers, and sometimes celery. Go ahead and use that. I mean, our goal here is to make things easier on you, not more difficult. So, if you see a recipe that calls for something you don't have, or that you want to make it easier, and you find something to make it easier, go ahead. Okay, just be aware of if it's adding extra salt or preservatives that maybe you don't want. Okay, just read your labels, and I'm going to show you how to read a label here in just a minute to tell if something's low salt or not. If that's not a concern, don't worry about it. But actually, most people in this world or in this country probably ate too much salt. So. I know all the doctors I know talk about it. So, salt and processing. I don't know about you, but I always find cooking to be relaxing. If you don't, maybe you can have somebody help you. If you have children at home that are old enough to use a knife, or if you have a older son or daughter that could help out, don't be afraid to ask for help when you're a caregiver. That is something that, I don't know, I think it comes from us, always wanting to be self-sufficient and strong and brave, but really there is no shame in asking for help, okay? Something else you could do is if money's a little tight, try to get some SNAP benefits, which are the Supplemental Nutrition Program, Assistance Program. That's used to be called food stamps. And, again, there's no shame in it. There's food pantries all around. You can, also, if you're over, I think, 60, 65, you can look for Meals on Wheels if you're in an area that has that. But in many churches and private organizations and little nonprofits around towns, they have things available. So please, again, there's no shame in it. It's put there to help us. Okay. So. Oh, and there's one other thing. Some people think that the foods that are frozen aren't as healthy, and that's not true. Okay, canned and frozen foods. Let me get this started first, and we'll finish that thought. Okay, I've got my burner going, and it's going to take, let's see, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I already have that. If you only have canola oil, that's okay. You can use that. Try not to use butter, just because it's not as heart healthy. So we're going to let that cook up a little bit, and we're going to add the veggies, okay? Just let that warm up. Let me get that. All right. Yes, so I lost my train of thought. I'm sure you do that too a lot because you're so busy. But what you want to, what I'm talking about with the frozen veggies or the canned veggies, you think about it. When they have something that's frozen or canned, it's picked at the peak of ripeness, okay? And then boom, they process it in some way. Either they freeze it or they can it. And that means that's going to have a lot of vitamins in it, a lot of vitamins and minerals. Now, these frozen ones, I know some of these were fresher than others, but it takes a while to pick it, and then it's stored, and then it goes to the grocery store, and it might be coming from California or Florida or overseas. We've been getting stuff from Mexico and places like that. So as soon as something is picked, it's going to start losing its vitamins and minerals. So in essence, or in reality, the things that are frozen or frozen or canned, might even be healthier, okay? Just got to watch out for that salt, okay? So I've got this going, and it's so pretty. Excuse me a minute, I've got to sneeze. Achoo! All right, sorry, here I am. There's a problem with a live show. So I am just going to saute this a little bit, and you're just going to saute it for about 3 minutes, and that's just to soften those vegetables. And let me show you how pretty that looks. Look at that. Ooh, just all those colors. I just love it. So let me read the rest of the recipe for you. So we're going to also put in some, let's see, it's a ½ a teaspoon of salt, which is very little, 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 2 tablespoons of ground cumin, which is used in a lot of Mexican type flavorings, okay, or anything like chili. It goes together really well with that chili powder, and some oregano. So I've already put those into my little cup, and you can see the chili powder there is the really dark red one, okay. And we've got the salt. Now another thing I like about this recipe, it makes a big batch. And have you ever heard that term, cook once, eat twice? Well, you can cook once and eat like 3 times with this. And like I said, you could do other things with it. Now, when I think chili or any kind of Mexican food, I also think about like nachos or burritos. So you could take, after this is done, you've had your chili feed, you could also make up maybe some rice. I would prefer brown rice, but you could do white rice. Put that in with maybe some lettuce and tomatoes into a burrito and kind of roll it up, eat it that way. And you could also make some nacho chips, or just some corn tortilla chips. Like not too many. Again, we don't want to eat a lot of junk food, but this is already going to be healthier going on top of those, right, than what you get in at a Mexican restaurant. And then you could have a kind of a little snack or a meal that way. So we're going to throw in our seasonings. It seems like a lot of seasonings, but it's in one of those packets. It's about the same amount, but it's a lot less salt. All right. Boy, it smells so good. I wish you were here. I wish I could just project that smell. And what's nice about this, it's not super spicy, okay? You could, if you want something spicier, you could always have some hot sauce afterwards. You could, maybe kick it up with a little garlic. There's no garlic in this, but just remember, sometimes people that are not feeling well don't want anything spicy. It might be a little hard on their stomach. They might have some acid reflux, kind of like, burp up stuff. Or even, if they're having some kind of treatments, they just, just might want something blander. So this is not too spicy. On the other hand, if you're caring for someone with, a little dementia or Alzheimer's, sometimes they don't always taste things as well, and you might want to spice it up. As we get older, we lose some of those taste buds, okay? And you think about it, how kids are really fussy, when they're little. They don't really want to, try new things. It's because they have so many more taste buds than we do, and they're like little super tasters. And so as we get older, though, there's things I'll eat now that I wouldn't eat as a child. So, all right, so that is going. We're going to start adding the canned tomatoes, vegetable stock, corn, and 2 kinds of beans. Now, I've taken some no salt added petite diced, okay? And you add, what's nice, you don't have to drain anything. You just throw it right in, okay? And the same with the beans. Usually they tell you to rinse the beans. I was able to get no salt added black beans. I know sometimes you can't always find those, so What you could do if you wanted to, you could get some regular beans, rinse them and drain them and rinse them to get the salt off, and then just add more broth, okay, to make up for the difference. And these are also no salt added. I was lucky. You cannot always find these. But you know, with salt, salt's one of those things, you know, you can always add it, but you can't take it away. It's pretty tough. I mean, I've tried all those things where you put bread in, the food that you order salted, or you try to balance it out with some acid, but it still tastes salty, and there's still salt in there. So again, this is looking beautiful. And oh, the broth. I have chicken broth. You can use vegetable broth if you want. There's a cup of that. And then you really, let's see, do we put the, I'm going to put the corn in now too. So I've used frozen corn, and you could use fresh if you wanted to, or if you have canned, that I would just rinse and, or drain and rinse, okay? So we're going to throw that in there too. Now the recipe calls for you to make some tortilla strips if you want. That they're very easy to make, but it is one more step. So, you know, I leave that up to you. If you just want to have, you know, a piece of bread, muffin, something like that. Try to go whole grain. We like our whole grains. I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't talk to you about whole grains, so, and fiber. You know, a lot of times also with people that we're caring for, they're not as mobile, right? They need that fiber to keep everything else moving. It helps you go to the bathroom. Fiber also helps keep your cholesterol down. Certain kinds of fiber, especially the fiber in like these beans or the fiber in oatmeal, okay? So that and liquid. We want to have a lot of fluids, mostly water. So, all right, so again, this is so pretty. Oh, it's a little hot too. Don't burn yourself. But I just want to show you how pretty this is. Look at that. Okay. Nice deep bread. Smells wonderful. You could, you know, put the cover on it this time and let it set for about 30 minutes and simmer. Okay. I also think some of these things taste better the next day after they've set. Anything, especially with tomatoes. My mom always used to say that, and she was right. Okay, it does taste better. Now, I'm just going to show you, this isn't quite ready yet, but I just want to show you what a serving size is, and it's 1 cup. So we're going to take that cup, then we had the corn in. I'm just going to put it in my bowl. I'm going to put a little bit of cheese on top, because what's chili without cheese? I mean, really. We just put a little bit. And that, folks, is your 1 pot bean chili. And this only has 240 calories in it. And so it's not that much. And if you wanted to, you could maybe even have a bowl and a half, 2 bowls, and that would be a very hearty meal. Now, one last thing before I go, because I don't have much more time. I just want to talk about that no salt thing. Look at your nutrition facts label, which is always on the back here. Find sodium, and then look over to the percent daily value. Okay, that just means how how much out of a whole day's worth this sodium is. If you so if you want to choose something, say your doctor says you need to go low sodium, look for things that are 5% or less, okay, that on that daily value, percent daily value. If it's 5% or less, that means it's low in sodium. If it's 20% or more, it means it's high. So if you're somewhere in between, that's not so bad either, but you know, always go for that lower sodium. You can always add salt, you can't take it away. So that's all the time I have for today. I hope that you've enjoyed this. I have certainly enjoyed giving this presentation to y'all, and I hope you'll try the meal too. And I'm going to see if I can do this again sometime for you and find some other inexpensive, this is very inexpensive, inexpensive meals that are healthy, easy to make, and that are kind of fun, because I really enjoy doing this for you. All right, so y'all take care. Bye-bye.